Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to show you this wonderful pop-up card that I made using the Dainty Delight bundle, which includes the dies, Dainty Delight dies, and it includes, for celebrations, you get this wonderful DSP. So we're going to use this DSP, and we're going to use the Dainty Delight and a punch. It's an old favorite. It's a daisy punch. We're going to use the punch to kind of do that daisy. Now, the card folds flat, and this is a design from Sam Calcutt of Mix Up Craft. You have to make your own envelope. I'll make that at the end. But it opens up. It has a little bit of a platform here because when you stand it up, you can kind of pinch that, and then it'll stand up beautifully as a really beautiful decorative piece. Now the sentiment is on the front, and on the back you can also put some cardstock here to write something on the back if you want. Let's go ahead and get started. So you're going to need all the dies that come with this set, and I have them all right here. These are the little pieces and parts. Now this is a little fiddly, but if you just sit down and you make all the pieces, and I'm going to show you how I do things. Here's my little muffin can. I have my little muffin can here, and what I do is I cut all the pieces out and I kind of put it in my little muffin can. The cardstock that I'm using, let me see if I can pull this in here, is I'm using I believe this is crushed curry. Okay, so you're going to need crushed curry, and you're going to need crushed curry ink. I'm using fresh freesia and pale pink, and I'm using some flirty flamingo here for my pink, and I believe I have some fresh freesia as well. It's here somewhere. I'll have to see if I can, oh, here it is. And I have my fresh freesia ink. We're going to need that. I'm also using Mossy Meadow and Old Olive to do some cutting. So, like, here are some examples of some of the pieces I cut. I always go, when I'm making these kind of designs, is I go into my stash and I pull out some other dies or punches that I may have, because when I'm going to put together assemble something like this, I'm not really sure what I need, so I just make sure that I have enough pieces and parts kind of in my little tin here that I can pull up something like this. You may remember that punch that I can use. You're also going to need some silver foil, and I'm cutting these Queen Anne's lace pieces out of silver foil. And let's see, what else do you need? I think that's about it. Oh, I did also use early espresso, because there's these little dark pieces here, and here's let me see if I can find the die. Let me just go ahead and restack these over here. Oh, you're also going to need your Mossy Meadow ink. Let me go ahead and stack those over here. This little detail die will cut out these little pieces here, and these little pieces are the pieces that go in the middle of these little daisies that you use cutting out this die. And there's a circle, and then there's kind of like this shape here, and what that shape does is it is the shape for the half circle piece. Okay, so you need these two dies, and this is kind of like, these are like my centerpiece flowers that I use, but that's early espresso and that's crushed curry. There's this pretty flower die. Let's see, I used this flower die. When you cut two pieces of different colors, you kind of put them together like that. It kind of gives you, I use that right here in the front because it kind of gives you, you know, this kind of like a lilac type of flower. So you want to use that, and that's with your pale pink or your let me see what other colors. Your Blushing Bride, Crushed Curry, Fresh Freesia, Mossy Metal, Old Olive, and Starry Sky. But I'm using the Rich Razzleberry and the Blushing Bride here are these two pieces. Or rather, I think that's Fresh Freesia. This is Blushing Bride. So I cut Blushing Bride out of these pieces here. And I just go and I just grab, I even cut Blushing Bride here. And I just cut a bunch of pieces out using the dies. Here's the daisy die. You can see all the pieces that I cut out there. This is a pretty flower. Again, if you kind of use it a little bit, that looks almost like a hydrangea. These are like star asters maybe. So I cut out some of those. I cut out at least two of each. I have different, see, this goes over here. I cut out that. These are leaves. I didn't cut out the leaves. I did cut out for this card, but I'm not going to use them for this card. That goes there. These are these little star flowers here. And I have just a bunch of these other flowers like that. Now, one of the things that I did, and I think this is kind of a cool tool. Here's the my silver that I cut out with my my Queen Anne's lace. Now these here, you're going to need two of these, and we're going to glue these back to back because I just want something a little bit stiffer. Yeah, I'm going to use this Xyron. I'm going to run it through there, and we're going to stick that on to adhere these pieces. It just kind of gives them a little bit more just a little bit more stiffness for your card. So you want to cut out two pieces of that. Do you remember this medium daisy punch? It's a smaller one. And I also had, believe it or not, some of these. These are retired, but you can find on Amazon. Amazon will sell little furry centers that are lots of colors. These were yellow, but you can find these on Amazon if you need them. So we're going to need one of those, and you're going to need a alcohol ink marker. I'm using soft suede because what we're going to do is we're going to color this with our alcohol ink marker a dark brown. So we're just going to go ahead and it's going to just dye perfectly. The other thing I'm going to use is that you can use, if you look at your little flower center, you can kind of use this to kind of do the center of your flowers. Just kind of give them a little bit of a center. And I just kind of, it's indented, so I just kind of go indent in the piece and then kind of go out a little bit. This one I don't think has. Now the way to pick up these little pieces is you want to use your multi-purpose tool. It has this nice little putty, and you can turn your piece over, and then if you have the putty on one side and then the pick on the other, you can kind of move your pieces around, and that's what I like to do. So I'm just kind of using this, and I'm just going to go ahead and add those centers, and that's really about it for getting ready for the flowers. There's another neat tool, and I'm going to use the wide end of my alcohol marker just to make sure that I get all of this colored. This is an old marker, so you can see the tip is pretty well shot, but again, we just want to make sure that that's nice and dark. So there's our center for our flower. Now, to kind of prepare your flowers, go ahead and grab some sponge daubers, and I have my little case here of sponge daubers, and I have them marked. Here's my crushed curry and this is my mossy meadow. So I'm going to grab my crushed curry, and I'm going to grab my little flower. And if you look at the flower on this paper, do you see how it's got that nice deep coloring? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to add that to the ends of our, and we're also going to kind of add it in the middle, and it just kind of gives it a nice, some nice coloring, kind of focusing on the edges here, just kind of adding that all around. We're going to do the same with this piece here. Just add these around here. Pick that up. I'm going to make sure that I kind of get this piece like that. Again, just pull this out, and we just kind of color that like that. We can also grab some mossy meadow, and what I like to do is I do like to add some extra color along the leaves, and this is primarily just, you know, what makes you happy. What do you want to do? But I think it just kind of adds a little bit more dimension to our project. Certainly gets your fingers dirty, but you can see it kind of adds a little bit of extra dimension. So we're going to have those. I have that, and I can pick a color like, let's see, what do I have? I'm going to take fresh freesia over here, but I'm just going to add some, just add some color. And it does even work, the fresh freesia on the rich razzleberry. It does offer just a little bit of a deeper, you can see just kind of a deeper color. But that's kind of what I did. Just kind of added a little bit of color on the edge. Okay, now I want to show you this neat tool right here. We're going to move. This is a shaping set, and this is by Sizzix. We're going to use this shaping tool right here and this shaping pad. We're going to set this down, and we're going to take our flower, and we're just going to pull it towards us like that. And that is how we're going to shape our flowers. Okay, we're going to put those to a side. Now I'm going to take these and these, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use this tiny little piece right here. Okay, so there's all my little flowers. I have them all shaped. So now I'm going to kind of put them in my tin over here. Just gonna have all my flowers, just kind of put them in my tin so I know that they're ready. And I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so those are the dies that we've just used. And I'm using this sentiment here, so we're going to need that. I've already showed you the inks. And I'm going to put my punch away over here. For glues, I'm using multi-purpose glue. You're going to need tear tape, and you're going to need glue dots. Okay, those are the glues that you're going to need. We're going to cut that. It's a rather 5.5 by 11 3/4. So there's 12 over here. So we're just going to 11 3/4. Okay, so that's that. Then we're going to need some of our designer series paper here. I'm going to pick this piece right here is going to be the back of our card. This piece is going to be 5 by 5. So let's cut this 5. Okay, so that's going to be 5 by 5, and this is going to be 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to be our layered piece for the back of our card. We're also going to need several, you're going to need 4 smaller pieces, and those are going to be 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then I'm going to need one more piece, and I'm going to take this piece here, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut the bottom here so that I can have, so it kind of looks like those flowers are kind of coming up from the bottom. So I'm going to cut this 5 1/4. And then I'm going to cut this 1 3/4. I still have my top, but this is going to be my bottom. Alright, so I have my 4 pieces there. We're also going to need a piece of cardstock that is going to be 2 1/2 by 6. So this has to be 2 1/2 by 6. Okay, so this is just a piece of cardboard, and this is what's going to make our base. And then I'm going to need 2 pieces of this cardstock, and this has to be 6, and I want this 2 1/2. I want this 2 1/2. Okay, then we're going to need, let's see, there's one more piece I need here. We're going to take a piece of silver, and we're going to cut this by 1 inch by 1 inch. That are going to make the little, you see these little, we got these little things right here, and so you can see how pretty that is. So we need 4 of those. I'm also going to need a piece of acetate. It's going to be 3 by 4 3/4. So I need 4 3/4, which is right there. By 3. Okay, so that's my acetate. Hey, I want to show you how we're going to assemble the project, our pop-up card. Here's a pop-up card. I've made several of these, but unfortunately my file seems to constantly get corrupted, and I just don't have the data that I had filmed before. So I am going to reshoot it, but I'm going to do it on using some different paper. I've already cut and scored a piece of acetate that is 4 3/4 by 3, and it's scored 1/4 and 2 1/2, and this or 2 1/4. Yeah, 2 1/4. Okay, so now we're just going to grab our tool, and we're just going to go ahead and put all these pieces and parts on. Okay, so that forms our box right here. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply our paper. I have the dimensions of, since this is 5 1/2, this is 4 1/4 squared, and then I have this one at 5 squared. So that's going to go on the back. I'm then going to I have several of these. Thought I had one more, yes. And I'm going to use, this piece is going to go right there because that's going to go in front, and then this piece is going to go right there, so you can kind of see the flow. And then I'm going to have an inside piece, and I think I'm going to choose that piece right there to go on the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach that, and I'm going to be using my 3-in-1 glue just because it is when this dries, it just provides a lot of more stiffness to our cardstock for this project. Okay, we're not going to put anything on this piece until after we have assembled these other pieces. So we're going to need a piece of tear tape, and we're going to go ahead and place that tear tape right along that edge. Now, the way we want to adhere this tear tape to this piece, this is the key. This is where the magic is, because we're going to, so you're just going to fold that flap right there, and here's our tear tape right there, and then we're simply going to bring this piece forward and just let it lie flat right there, and then it will pick up the tear tape, and there you go. It adheres nicely to our box. Okay, so the next piece is going to be our acetate, and we're going to want to fold our acetate, and it's a little hard to fold. You have to be a little careful when you're folding this, so that you get the crease straight. And then once you get it straight, grab your bone folder, go ahead and crease it. Make sure your edges line up here so that it's square, and then it should look like this. Okay, you have the piece, your 1/4 inch piece right here, and then it kind of goes out. Now before I put this on my project, I like just to grab an alcohol wipe, and I like to kind of clean my acetate because I just want it to look pretty. Get rid of any, because this is the acetate that comes out of the photopolymer stamp sets, so it's got some gunk on it. So see, I just like to clean it and it's nice and pretty. We're going to put some tear tape on this piece as well, and the way we're going to do it is we're going to put some tear tape on this piece. We're going to kind of straighten it out a little bit, and we're going to line this piece of acetate right up to the edge, the top of our card, and we're going to ensure that it's even on both sides. We're just simply going to press it closed like this. Okay, that's how the acetate's going to go on there. And put our acetate right there. Okay. So we're going to line this piece of acetate right to the top of our card. And then we're just going to press it again, and then it's just going to stick. So there it is. It's stuck to the back of our card. Then we're going to take this piece right here, and we're going to do the same thing. This is why we didn't put anything here, is we're going to take some acetate and we're going to place it along the bottom of this. And again, if I have a piece alcohol wipes, I just kind of like to clean it, make sure it's nice and clean, because it's going to be harder to get underneath that piece again. And then we're going to pull that strip. Then we're going to fold this piece over, and then we're going to crease that piece and fold that piece right there. So there you go. So now it has been adhered to your box, and there's your acetate. So now, because this is acetate, you can use something like a 3-in-1 glue, but just to be safe, just run a piece of tear tape in front of the acetate to make sure that it does hold your cardstock. And then put some 3-in-1 glue. Right like that. Just to make sure you secure that nicely, and you can kind of move that around just a little bit. Okay, the next portion of our project is we're going to assemble the base that's going on the bottom of our card. We're going to take our 2.5 by 6 inch piece of cardboard. I'm going to take my silicone mat and put that there, and we're going to sandwich this piece with our cardstock. But before we do that, I'm going to use a marker. This is a balmy blue marker. That is the color of the paper, just on the edge of the cardboard. For the other project, I used Mossy Meadow, and it just makes sure that there's a nice finish to the edge of the cardboard that shows after we sandwich our two pieces together. Again, I'm using the 3-in-1 glue, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that there. It adds really nice. I really like it for these kind of projects because they're nice, and it adds a nice stiffness to our cardstock. And then just grab a pair of scissors and trim if there's any excess on the edge of your base. And there you go. There's the base of our project. And for the other project, I was using I believe it was Mossy Meadow that matched the green layer for the Dainty Flowers. Now this is how you're going to create the little corners. And in the other project by Sam Calcutt, she actually had hardware. I didn't have hardware, so I'm going to improvise. And I took the silver foil piece that I cut 1 inch by 1 inch, cut that again, so that basically these little squares are going to measure about I believe they're going to be 1/2 inch. And I'm going to pull my ruler in here in a minute to kind of show you what the width of these pieces are. And I have 2 of them, and you basically just need 2 squares because we're going to make 4. Let's see, you can see, yeah, that's a 1/2 inch square. So the original piece earlier in the video had it 1 inch by 1 inch, but then you can go ahead and cut that. I took the silver foil and I embossed it with this really cool 3D embossing folder. It will be available on 1 March. It's not in the annual catalog, but it will be available on my online store. You line those up and then just get a hole punch and punch it in the middle of the cardstock, this foil cardstock. Pull it out, and that's going to create kind of like this nice little divot, and then cut that in half on the diagonal, and then you have these nice little corner pieces that are going to go nicely. I'm using one of my fine tip applicators that has the 3-in-1 glue in it to apply the glue. You can also use fine tip glue. A fine tip glue pen is also will work fine. Will work well with this, but I prefer to use my 3-in-1, and I keep it always on the side there on my in my crafting caddy. Just go ahead and add some and then put it on the corners. Now, if your corners are a little off, don't worry about that. Just line up one of the edges, and then you can always trim the other edge with your scissors. So don't worry if they happen to be a little bit not square, because you can always take kind of fix that when you apply that to your corners. And I had to do that on several of the other projects that I created. But I think this adds a really nice touch to our project overall, and just makes it look like it's a little bit more finished than just those bare corners. Okay, so there they are. I'm trying to remove some of the pieces of glue that just kind of little stringy pieces that come for this particular brand of 3-in-1 glue. So now we're going to put our card on this since this is the base, I'm using my 3-in-1 glue, applying it to the bottom of my card, and then just kind of centering it. And when you use the glue like this, you've got a little bit of time to just kind of move it around, make sure it's square, and that it adheres nicely. And that is what creates your card. You just fold it flat, and it's going to be perfect for a 6x6 envelope. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to assemble the card, let's pick up where we left off with our original project. I'm pulling in my glue dots. You kind of roll your glue dots off the piece and adhere them to the back of your cardstock on the acetate. That's really the only thing that's going to hold for these flowers. I'm going to take my vine here. This is that one piece, and I'm cutting it in half. And I don't want to go past the edge of that card. If you go past the edge, you can go out to the side, but you don't want to go past the top of your acetate, because then it won't fit into your envelope. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking at there. And then just pull the dots. I kind of like to roll them off using my finger. That kind of makes them long and skinny, and I can go ahead and apply them. So here you can see I've applied both sides of my, taken the vine and applied them to both sides of my acetate. I've kind of framed my acetate, so now I'm ready to apply the flowers. Now the first flower that I want to apply is going to be the daisy, and I'm just adhering the middle. Again, we want to use either glue dots. In this case, this daisy is going to go on cardstock, so I can use my 3-in-1 glue. I just want to kind of put that and kind of anchor the corner. Visually, I'm anchoring the corner of our project with the daisy. Now, for the other side of the card, I'm going to use these pieces that look kind of like lilacs, and I'm going to layer them. I'm using that 3-in-1 glue because it's going to add a little bit of stiffness to the cardstock, and that's going to go there in the corner. Now see how I'm taking advantage of the fact that I have a stem that kind of comes up from the bottom. So I'm going to apply these blossoms right there to that stem, and then it looks like that completes the flower, but then it kind of gives it a nice 3D. And there I have another stem that kind of sticks out, and I'm going to apply one of my daisies, one of my half daisies, and I have to apply the early espresso middle, and I'm using my tool, my take a pick tool, to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and apply some glue to the back, since it's going there, it's going right on the corner of the acetate. So now we're going to just go ahead and complete applying the different blossoms using our glue dots to our card, and once you've put the centers in. And now we're going to kind of show you what the finished product looks like, and I've slowed this down because I've added the flowers along the vines. You can see how I've done that, and I've added 3 daisies, which kind of balance the medium daisy that's there in the corner. There's the silver Queen Anne's lace. Everything has been applied with glue dots, and then you can see there's a little bee. That's one of the embellishments that is in the annual catalog, and I'm just kind of showing you how pretty that is as you kind of look at the project. Here's another project, same concept. Both of them using the flowers, all the blossoms from the Dainty Delight, and applied with the glue dots on the acetate. after we've colored them using our sponge daubers, and then shaped them using our shaping kit, and then embellished it with a little bumblebee, and kind of really offers a really nice project. Now for the sentiment, I just simply stamped using my rich razzleberry with Celebrate You, and I took a one of the oval punches that I have. It's a retired item. You know, don't get rid of those kind of things. They always come in handy, but it fit perfectly there to cut out the Celebrate You that is going to be put up on dimensionals on the back of our card. I like the way the acetate kind of has a window and you can look through and you can see the sentiment there in the background. Okay, for your envelope, this is very easy. You want to use 12 by 12 cardstock. You're going to use an envelope punch board, and this one in particular is for a 6 by 6 size, which you need 9.5 by 9.5 squared piece of cardstock, and just simply follow the directions for this for the punch board. Basically, just scoring at I believe it's 4 3/4, and I cut several envelopes with this punch board, and I love the paper because the paper offers some good patterns to use for both sides. And once you score your pieces and you've punched them, you're going to flip them around so you can kind of take care of the corners to kind of round them out to give it kind of a nice look. And I'm going to use tear tape to assemble them. And one of the tricks is just go ahead and put your project inside your envelope before you adhere your tear tape, so you can make sure that it fits nicely. So there you go. There's not much to this. And then we're going to go ahead and switch over to our project. So now we'll take a look at our final project. If you haven't already, please hit like. I know this was a little long, but I hope it provided you lots of inspiration and ideas for how to use this bundle, and especially take advantage of the celebrations. If you have this paper, it's excellent for this. All my products are available on my online store. You'll be able to see all the finished projects on my blog with details. And if you are looking for a demonstrator, please consider joining my team. You get all my PDFs for free. You can join as a hobbyist for $99. You can join as a demonstrator, and you'll have lots of ideas for any of the workshops, and certainly my support. Please support my channel by hitting like and share, leave a comment, and I hope that you have a great day.